Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America, and hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. And today, I am going to be playing with the Timeless Arrangements bundle, which has a whole bunch of really neat dies that are sprigs of foliage, which we've had before, but these are interesting because they have this bar that connects different sprigs, and you can layer them up in different ways and get different effects going and such. And we're going to play with one. And as is often the case when I'm starting something that's new with me, and then it also has a set of stamps that goes with it, and it has outline dies that go with several of the foliage, and then it's got 3 really cool stitched edge dies to go with the sentiments. And these are cool because they are little dots, and then right in the center of each side there's a dash and then an X. So the stitching, if you will, the faux stitching around them is a little bit different than what we've had before. So it's pretty cool. So that's the Timeless Arrangements bundle. You save 10% when you buy them together as a bundle. There's one number that gets you both of them together. Saves you 10% off buying the stamp set and the dies independently. And I am going to be casing something from the catalog, which is what I often do when it's the first time or so that I'm playing with a set. It helps me understand how the pieces work together when I'm trying to recreate what our concept artists have done. And they made this really cool fancy box to hold a gift. And I am going to case that, but just make it a card. So it probably won't have, this is wider than one of my cards would be, so I probably won't do as much of that big cluster of foliage. But yeah, I'm going to play with a couple of options and see what I come up with. Yes. Oh, and then one other thing, one tip I wanted to give you, and I don't know if this is the equivalent of an old stamper's tale or if it really, really works. I know I've talked before about our clear stamps, our photopolymer stamps, and one way to perhaps help them stamp better and stain less is to stamp them with something like Versamark before you start using colored inks on them. Long time ago, we had a light yellow that we felt did the same thing, and people are now talking about the lemon lolly doing that. So all the stamps I'm using today, before I came on the air with you, I did ink them up and stamp them several times on a piece of scratch paper. And so we'll see if they clean up any better. Anything that's sort of red or purple tends to stain. So even the browns do that. So we'll see today after I use Moody Mauve how well they clean up, and yeah, just sort of get a feel for things. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to be casing this box and doing my version as a card. So I did already, there's a lot of die cutting. So I did already come in and do some of it already. So they have several bits from Wild Wheat, and I decided for Wild Wheat, instead of using the plain cardstock, I was going to use some of the, what is it called? Specialty paper here. The 2325 12 by in color 12 by 12 luster specialty paper. And let me see if I can, you can see a bit here. It is it's got a very fine sparkle to it and a little bit of a shine. So I decided to zhuzh things up a little bit by making the Wild Wheat pieces out of that. So I have some of those, and I went ahead and I cut some of the couple of these from Garden Green, and I'm not quite sure how many of each of these I'm going to use. So I may have to cut more. I may have some left over. We'll see. And then it also, this picture, you can't see it, also shows some of this foliage stamped in Garden Green, on Garden Green. So I've gone ahead and stamped those and cut them out. And then the other two outline stamps in the set are the pair of flowers, and then these, I don't know, are they seed pods? Are they bubbly flowers? I don't know what you call them, but I've stamped them in Memento Tuxedo Black, and these are colored in light wild wheat Stampin' Blends, and I did one of these flowers already, and so I'm just going to go ahead and color in these. This is the Moody Mauve or Mauve Stampin' Blend. This is light. Hello, Gladys and Lorraine and Roseanne. Thanks for joining me. If you are here, please do say hello. I love to see who's watching either live or on either of the replay platforms. There is going to be some die cutting of these pieces coming up here in a moment. And for the leaves on this one, I've been using the dark wild wheat. I'm not sure it really matters in this particular case, but just to differentiate from these guys, I did the dark. There we go. I'm going to move that out of the way, and I'm going to bring in my mini cut and emboss machine. And I've been doing okay. Let's see if I jinx myself here with no washi tape. One and two. What have you guys been up to? We had a long weekend here in Australia. Public holiday on Monday to honor the King's birthday, which it's the observance day around the Commonwealth and the Kingdom. It's not his actual birthday. It's the actual birthday of a previous monarch. They just kept it for Queen Elizabeth II because her birthday was in April and the weather is notoriously unreliable in April in the UK. So they've just been keeping the same date. And actually that's works out pretty well for planning on most people's parts because it's always that Monday in June. We didn't do much special for it. Glenn actually had to teach that afternoon a bunch of Indonesians who could care less about the King's birthday. We don't particularly care about the King's birthday, personally. So we just did our normal stuff. Okay, let's see how we're going here. New apartment in Tucson. Is this the daughter who's been in Arizona, or is the one from the East Coast, Roseanne? Hello, Paula. Thanks for joining me. Glad it's fun to celebrate birthdays for family. Okay, so I have a bubble bath card base. Again, let me bring in the picture to show you what I am casing from. This is page 67 in the annual catalog. This box that the concept artist made, I am casing it into a card version. So because they've got this ribbon wrapped around, in particular, if I'm wrapping ribbon around, I don't like it to show inside the card here. When I first started doing cards, we often had that. It's worth it to me to do an extra layer of cardstock so I can wrap around to the back here and secure it, and it's all hidden there. So I've got a bubble bath pink card base and then an extra layer cut just slightly smaller. It's not even a full layer smaller. Cool. Roseanne, I'm seeing your reply here. Changing apartments within Arizona. Okay, so this has some stamping on this background piece. I'm actually going to do one more stamp and cut with the embossing machine to get my sentiment piece, because I'm going to build up my pieces to figure out where my stamping should go. Yeah, so here's my sentiment. This is Moody Mauve, and I'm bringing in my Moody Mauve ink pad. Hope your day is filled with everything good. So this could be bridal card, this could be birthday card, I suppose it could be a graduation card, I don't know. Now see, I'm trying to clean off. It's still, yeah, it still stained it. It was totally clear, and now it is stained. That's just a fact of life with photopolymer stamps. I don't think you have to bother with that lemon lolly step. Okay, bringing this back in. And the stitched rectangle die, it is a stitched rectangle. It is not from that now retired set. This is from this Timeless Arrangement set. Your connection was lost. I'm still going here, hopefully, but it does get a little bubbly sometimes, so hopefully. Oh, that's really crooked. I'm going to try that one more time. Let me know, did you get back on, Lorraine? Yours is okay, Gladys? That's good. Yeah, I notice my connection goes a little wonky sometimes. Usually you guys are still going and I'm like, oh, mine is timed out. But, okay, that's a better stamping anyway, so there we go. And I do find that it takes a very light touch with photopolymer sentiments. The photopolymer material is squishier, I think, than the red rubber sometimes, and it's not as crisp if you push too hard. Let me do it this way and see if I can get it lined up straighter. That's much better. Okay. Yeah, much better. Okay, let me bring this piece back in and we'll see what we're doing here. And again, I'm going to bring this picture back in. I don't need it to be exactly the same. Again, this is a proportionally much wider than this piece is going to be. But I do want to kind of get a sense of things here. There. You see what I'm doing here? I don't care that those don't line up. I don't think. I'm going to see how that goes here. This one's going to be on this side. Yeah, that probably needs to come in a little bit. Okay. And I am really just laying these down here. In pretty good approximation of what is on. This. Lorraine, did you get back into us? I hope so. This one had one more. One more of these, so I think maybe I will do so here. The cards in the catalogs are designed by Stampin' Up! Concept artists, which for many people would be a dream job. They get to sit there all day, every day, and play with all of the new product and returning product for the catalogs. And they work almost 2 years ahead, I think. There's an interesting video, and if I can find it and post it on Nancy's Nifty Note Makers, I will. And they have one of the concept artists come and talk about how they choose what they're working on and what colors they use. They have a whole big spreadsheet and chart, because you can see on this page there all of the projects color coordinate, you know, so that they look nice on the page, even though, I mean, these two are using this suite and it uses one sentiment, but this other part is piece of paper from a totally different suite. Oh, and it's got, yes, it has some other of the botanical cutouts too. So yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into figuring out what colors and what products to use and together and all of that. So yeah, it was an interesting watch, and I'll see if it's something that I can share publicly. I know it was made available for demonstrators. Just coloring in those, I'm going to call them seed pods. I'm not going to bring my cut and emboss back in. I'm just going to go off to the side here and do it. Well, maybe, yeah, I can't remember where it was. I thought maybe it was a video that was on the demonstrator planning place group, but it may have been at the demonstrator only on stage at home. A lot of times they do have concept artists come in and talk about how they made the images that are on our designer series paper, for example. A lot of those get hand painted and then photographed and then processed to be printed. Yeah, really cool stuff. Okay, there's one more of those to go on this side. Now I've nudged everything. So I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to bring this in, and I'm going to spend a few minutes, bear with me, nudging things into places that I really want them to wind up, at least in relation to each other, because I'm going to try to pick these all up with my press and seal. My absolute favorite way to deal with things like this. Okay, I'm going to pull these off again. I don't want to pull everything off, guys. Come on. Because it was all really close before. Okay. Really? Touch one, they all go kind of crazy. Okay. You are being difficult. It's okay with me that they are not positioned on this bubble bath piece in the right place, because I am going to pick them up and move them en masse, I hope. Let a little check here to see that I've got everything where I want it. leave it alone, Nancy. Okay, let's see how this works this time. I think you all have seen me use the Press and Seal before, but if you are watching and have not, Press and Seal is a Glad product. In Australia, you can buy it at usafoods.com.au, or there's a couple of online crafting stores, or Costco often has it in a, I think it's a 3-roll pack, which will last you several lifetimes. But it's got adhesive on one side that is very much like Post-it note adhesive. But as you can see, I can see there what is going on, and it holds all these pieces in place. And now I can add adhesive to this side, and when I flip it back over and place it where I want it, it will be in place. So because there's a lot of open space, I'm going to go with dots of glue. Sometimes when I have so much clustered together, I am able to use like tear and tape and hold it all together. Or if I was trying to get dimension, I would do dimensionals. But this, I'm going to adhere much more. I'm gonna adhere most of it flat. I'm not gonna glue down every single little bit of every sprig. There'll be some movement, but like these parts will get glued down. Now some of these I know are not gonna be, because they're so covered up by another layer, they are not gonna, the ones that are on the bottom now that don't get much glue from this process are not going to stick, and I'm going to have to go in and add some more adhesive, and that's fine. But I am going to try to get some of these that are like the tips of these I'm not worried about, but the back towards the back I'm going to get more glue on. And I just get a little bead of glue right there. Let's see if I can get this so you can see it well. And then I'm doing enough pressure on the bottle to keep that little bit right there, but then I just touch it to what I'm trying to put glue on, and it just gives me a little dot. Okay, let's see how that goes. And I'm going to bring this piece in. And now, because this is all stuck on here, and it's translucent enough that I can see, I can get it positioned pretty centrally on my card. And press it down into place. Now, I know, like this one, this flower has essentially no glue on it. So I know when I peel this back, it's going to pull up. So I'm holding it in place. Yep, this one too. There we go. And I know that looks like a hot mess, doesn't it? This one I knew was also going to be a bit of an issue. Now I'm waiting to actually glue this one down so much. I'm going to bring in my sentiment piece. Look at that. That covers up basically all of the hot mess part. And you know what I totally forgot to do? Nobody yelled. Nobody yelled. I didn't put my ribbon. So we're going to do it slightly differently. That's okay. I'm going to really make it my own. Okay, this I'm going to put on with some dimensionals. Oh, Lorraine, I'm sorry you're having a bad day. I know it's being a little glitchy at my end. I can see the picture being just a little odd from time to time. Excuse me if my head is getting in there. Just trying to make sure it's kind of centered on there. I can see this one's, yep, this one's needing more glue. This one did get caught by the dimensional, but I am going to add a bit of glue. There we go. And this, see, these have a little bit of lift to them because they're just held down underneath. I like that. This one is not glued enough. Oh, and I didn't do any of my stamping either. Boy, we're just really, really going well here. Okay. Got so focused on all these fun pieces, I forgot to do the other stuff I was supposed to do. But we'll get that in here. Yeah, that's not so lovely. We may try making this card again. We'll see. That's better. Okay, I'm going to stop there before I make a total mess. Hi, Christine. Thanks for joining me today. So, I set that aside and that aside. And then they used, Christine, just to let you know, I'm casing this box from page 67 of the annual catalog, but making it into a card. And they wrapped this ribbon around a couple of times underneath there, which, like I said, I was so focused on playing with all the die cuts that I totally forgot to do everything I was supposed to do on the card face. So I've gone back in and added stamping, not my best job. But I had already thought that maybe on the smaller card format, that ribbon might be a bit too thick. So I had thought about playing with this in color jute twine. Just looking for the end of it here. They've done such a good job of tucking it in. Wow. Oh, maybe? No. And then when I forgot to wrap it around, I think maybe I'm going to try just a bow. Again, if I can find the end of it, we might just have to pull it and make a mess. There we go. Look at that. That was a good guess. The other possibility is just adding in, I kind of like that more. Just thinking about how to attach that now. Come here, get under. Everybody under. Oh my. This is why it's better to do what you've planned to do and not be going in and trying to jury rig it afterwards. But it can be done. What do you think, 1 or 2? Perseverance, Lorraine. I'm glad you came back for the 3rd time. I'm thinking the 1. And I've lost the cap for my pokey tool. Oh, there it is. And again, for those of you just joining us, I am attempting to case this box into a card. I was going fine until I got totally absorbed by working with the die cuts and forgot to do the stuff on the card base. But this one has a whole bunch of these 2023, 2025 in color dots, and I won't be quite as generous as they are, but I do think they are going to be a fun addition. There. Maybe we'll cover up that yucky stamping. Okay. Now, just need to put that on the card base. And we'll be in business. This is a very tight fit because I didn't really want to make another layer a prominent feature. Yeah, that's a shame. Don't think this is going to, oh, maybe. This is a sand eraser. It's made by Tombow, the same folks who make our liquid glue. And you can, it's this very fine line between scraping off enough to get rid of the stray ink and not ripping up the cardstock too much. Yay, that worked. I'm happy about that. Okay, so there we go. By hook or by crook, I got it done, and it, you know, considering I didn't do that stamping when I was supposed to, I'm quite pleased with this. I might try it again sometime. Get this down into the frame better here. Wow, that just broke up again. Yeah, Mother's Day, birthday, again, I think a bridal shower, bridal, you know, wedding card could be good. I could see some of those cute, the heart-shaped pearls on there instead of the moody mauve dots. Anyhow, I hope that you do go to your catalog for inspiration when you're trying to figure out what to do. It gives me a better sense of how these pieces work together and what you do kind of behind the scenes to get them to do what you want. And if you haven't put this bundle in your shopping cart and into your stash, I do encourage you to do it. It's there are a lot of really good sentiments, and it's going to mix and match really well with designer series paper from all kinds of suites and other stamp sets. It's going to be very versatile. I hope it sticks around for quite a while. Okay, thanks for joining me. I will be back same time, same place next week with another project to share with you. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you. Bye-bye.